Hey guys, welcome back. So today on madrunner, this is going to be Kitchen Time, episode 2. And I'm making panko roasted garlic Brussels sprouts. And last time I was in the kitchen and I kind of showcased what I was doing, it was my morning smoothie routine before my race. So today I'm going over making these Brussels sprouts. First off, you're going to want to buy some organic Brussels sprouts. These are raw. I didn't buy frozen or anything at my local market. And I am just taking off the ends and I'm going to be cutting them in half. Cutting them in half is going to make them roast a little bit better, and it's going to get a little more flavor. They're not going to break apart and flake off while they're baking in the oven. So right now I am using approximately 3 pounds of organic Brussels sprouts. Let's speed this process up. All right, so now that all the Brussels sprouts are actually chopped, these were washed beforehand. I dried them off so that they weren't soaking wet, so they're pretty dry. I have them in a bowl. Typically, you can actually mix these up in a bag, like a Glad bag, gallon freezer bag or whatever. I prefer using a mixing bowl, just so when all the ingredients are put in, I can actually just mix them nicely with a rubber spoon or a wooden spoon, whatever choice of utensil you want to make and use. So yeah, that's about it. So next step is actually going to be adding all the ingredients. All right, so let's do this. All right, so we got our mixing bowl, and first off, I'm going to add avocado oil, about 1/4 cup. I like to drizzle things. I'm not a huge guy that measures everything all the time, so typically we're going with about 1 1/4 cup of avocado oil. Next, I'm going to add some minced garlic. We're adding about 1 tablespoon. I just like the taste of garlic. You can add a little bit more, kind of depends on you. It's basically by taste. I'm Italian, so I like things to be a little bit more powerful when it comes to onions and garlic. And next I'm adding breadcrumbs. So these are Panko whole wheat breadcrumbs, about 1 cup worth of breadcrumbs. And I'm going to add some salt, about 1/4 teaspoon, or about 4 shakes, and likewise with black pepper. So 1/4 teaspoon or about 4 shakes. It's going to be kind of personal preference. I like to season everything. And next I'm using Veggie. This is a vegan Parmesan cheese. I'm going to be using about 2 tablespoons. Since we're plant-powered or plant-based, we don't use any dairy, so this is our substitute. And now I'm going to just mix this guy up, make sure everything's getting nice and coated. Once you got this all mixed up, you may have to add a little bit more avocado oil or whatever oil you're using at the time. I just like to mix everything up, make sure it's getting all covered, and I'm going to drizzle a little bit more on if needed, and I do need it, because I want it to bake and sizzle nicely while they're roasting in the oven. So let's mix this up a little bit more, get that all nice and coated, and I'm just about done. If you want it this time, you could add a little bit more salt or pepper, seasonings if you want. You don't have to do the salt and pepper, but that's your staples usually for seasoning. And here we go, we're all mixed up. Next step, it's going to be putting it on parchment paper. Yeah, I don't use aluminum foil when I'm roasting. I'm going to actually spread all these Brussels sprouts down onto the parchment paper. It's about like a 9x13 metal sheet. I don't want them to burn on here, so that's why I'm using parchment paper. You're going to want to spread them out pretty evenly. If you overlap vegetables on any kind of tray, or if you're baking them, what happens is overlap vegetables, then they turn into steamed vegetables, so they're not roasting. So you want them kind of spread out as much as you can. I have an abundance of Brussels sprouts here, so I have to kind of be careful. But yeah, you want them spread out so that they roast. If they overlap or they're on top of each other, then typically vegetables will steam. And I'm going to add a little bit of salt and a little bit more pepper. And I'll probably sprinkle a little bit more of my Parmesan cheese on top, just so that it kind of melts and roasts on top of these guys. I want them to be nice and crusty with lots of flavor. And here's your close-up. Looks pretty good. I could actually eat it just like that. Next step is we're going to put these guys in the oven. I want you to preheat your oven at 400 degrees. Make sure it preheats fully before you put them in. And you kind of want that to sear. That's why you want it to preheat fully. You don't want to just put them in and let it preheat while they're in there. And we're going to bake those for about 20-30 minutes. And I'm taking them out. And they are piping hot and steaming. Yep, they are good to go. Can't wait to try these guys out. And I'm going to spoon them into, or spatula them into, a mixing bowl to serve them at dinner time. So I'm accompanying these with a gardenia vegan fish fillet. So that's our meal for this evening. And here they are. Roasted, or panko roasted garlic Brussels sprouts. Delightful.